And these ships, although they're floating cities, I mean, there are between crew and passengers, there's 10,000 people on board these ships, and they look like I don't know, they are 20 decks high. They look like you took sort of the Empire State Building and turned it on its side and floated it out to sea. In Europe, the facial recognition was so good. You just walk through an e-gate. You never have to go up to a customs or border official. You never have to wait in line for anything.
If I had to give up one thing, either that or clear, I would definitely give up clear, which I'm not a fan of anyway. It's just a way for rich people to cut in line.
Here's the thing. Almost 80% of the American traveling public has never been on a cruise. That's the statistic. 8 out of 10 people.
I'd like to get there before it becomes too overdeveloped and still have a chance to get off the beaten path.
So you can take a cruise and have a meaningful, authentic travel experience. It's all about the choices you make.
Well, good day, everyone. This is Mike Putman.
And this is James Farrar. Welcome to No Tourists Allowed. And here we are at the top of the year, Mike, and we are thinking about the year of travels ahead. We've got some news in the travel headlines. We've got some new technology. We've got, a lot of exciting things this episode. And since last episode, we gave away, what was it? A luxury cruise for two to Alaska.
A balcony cabin, nonetheless.
And it was a balcony cabin on Princess Cruises. I mean, a really amazing experience and worth quite a bit. And now we are going to take it back to land and start our next giveaway.
Absolutely. And all our listeners have to do, if you guys have not done this, it is super, super simple. Just go to notouristsallowed.com and register for our email. And there we will provide an occasional newsletter. We won't bombard you every day. We won't bombard you every week, but just occasionally check in with you and tell you what we're up to, what the podcast is up to. But that is your key to getting in to have a chance to win our next sweepstakes.
Guys, these are legit, valuable trip giveaways. You don't have to purchase anything from us, and we do this as a thank you for listening in and joining us on occasion. And please tell your friends. It's a great opportunity to win a really valuable trip and maybe to learn a little bit about travel, get a few tips from us, and join the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, James, as I was traveling back from South Florida, is that last week or this past week, and I think you were as well, I noticed some things. Things have really changed over the last several months in the airports. So I wanted to share a couple of things, and I know you've got some things you want to share as well about how technology is interplaying with the traveler experience in airports. I think we've come a long way, just from simply having clear to now being able to step up to a machine and it takes, your facial recognition. And from that, you don't even have to show your ID in some cases or your boarding pass in some cases. A lot going on there.
Yeah, I mean, technology, when it's done right, it's really making the experience better, isn't it? My last trip, which was just last week, I got dropped off at the curb, and I was inside the terminal, buying a cup of coffee 5 minutes later.
3 hours before your flight,
And 3 hours before my flight. That's correct. Well, it's better than doing the mic run down the terminal to the gate. But, literally 5 minutes. Now, that's because, I have some status with the airline, so I have a special place to drop my bag and get some service. I have Clear, which takes me, with TSA, which takes me to the front of the line. I know how you feel about that, Mike. And TSA, which made it easier for me to get through security. New security equipment, which makes things easier. Also, you have to don't have to take all these things out of your bag. You don't have to really do much at all. And even at the TSA agent, I may get to the front of the line, but now the facial recognition is so good that it just takes a quick photo, second, and you're through. And I saw that in Europe too. In fact, Europe is a little ahead, at least ahead of the airports that I use here in the United States. There might be some that are better, but in the New York area, I think we're lagging behind a little because in Europe, the facial recognition was so good. You just walk through an e-gate. You never have to go up to a customs or border official. You never have to wait in line for anything. You just, slide your passport in, or you just look at the camera and you're through the gates. And the same true, that's at the border, but the same is true even at the airline gates themselves to board the plane. So it's just getting better and better and faster and faster. And I think airports are the thing that I complain about most in the travel experience. So this is good news for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely gotten much better. I've been one of the holdouts and not getting a real ID, and part of that, and I'm sure our listeners know that by now you should have had your real ID to be able to get through security at the airports, unless you have a passport. If you have a passport, then you don't need the real ID. But I went to my local DMV, got instructions on all that it took to get what they call a real ID, and that paperwork is still sitting on my desk 6 months later. And luckily for me, Apple came out with a solution. So, if you do have an Apple device, and this may be available on Google as well, but for sure it's available on Apple because I've used it. They have a way that you can create a digital ID that will drop into your Apple Wallet. So, your Apple Wallet, which I'm finding
Mhm.
is becoming more and more useful every day. There's a process, and you can Google this. It's very simple to do and takes virtually no time, but you basically scan your passport. There's some kind of KYC, know your customer type thing that takes place. And ultimately, what happens is it drops a little card, if you will, into your Apple wallet. And then when you go to the airport, instead of pulling out your ID or your passport, you just scan this little blue card, which I would show you on my phone, but it may contain something. And I'm sure there's some bad person out there that would replicate and steal my identity. So I'm not going to. Um, but you basically just scan that, and then it that serves as your ID. So you don't have to pull out your passport or your driver's license or
I didn't know about that. I'm going to check it out.
yeah, it's really easy to do too. There are some that I did read that there are some backwards airports like those in New York that probably have not adopted this yet, but your more forward-thinking airports in the South have generally adopted these. So,
Listen, what you said about real ID, and if you do mess up and you don't have yours, there is a small penalty you can pay at the airport, and they'll validate for that one trip. But I always say, this is my famous phrase around here: step number one, get a passport. I just want to be ready to go, you know? So it's my advice to all my friends and family and everybody I run into in the travel industry is get a passport. Everyone should have a passport. And then you don't have any of these issues. My other tip, I will tell you, because we were talking a little bit about crossing international borders. Now, domestically, Mike and I have Clear and TSA PreCheck, but you can internationally, you can have global entry. That's a great program to get in and out of the United States without waiting online. Now all automated. But if you don't want to do that, because it does cost a bit, although you might have a discount or some benefit with if you're a big frequent flyer program or maybe your credit card, you might. There are some offers out there. But if you don't, there's a lesser known program that is free. It's called Mobile Passport. It's a free app you can download from the government, and it is a fast lane when you're crossing the international borders. So at border control, only here in the United States, none of these programs work in other countries. You can get trusted traveler programs in other countries if there's a particular country that you travel to a lot. So I have a trusted traveler status in the UK with their program. The programs we're talking about are only good at the US border. But Mobile Passport is a little known, free thing you can do. Fill it out when you land on your phone, and then you can go through these fast automated aisles as if you had global entry. So
Yeah, I don't think the cost for global entry, and it's been a while since I've done it, but I don't think it was.
I thought it was like $180, but I could be wrong.
If I had to give up one thing, either that or Clear, I would definitely give up Clear, which I'm not a fan of anyway. It's just a way for rich people to cut in line,
It's a
and
line cutting program, yes.
I am being a hypocrite because I did use it. I said I would not use it, but I did use it in Fort Lauderdale this weekend because there was a massive line, so,
Yeah, I've been in some busy airports lately, and I've been happy to have it. Look, there's technology in other areas of the travel industry too. Cruise lines are giving you what look like little watches that have a chip in them. At hotels, more and more, I'm using digital keys on my phone, so I don't have to have a physical key to the room. What I like about the digital keys is some of the programs allow you to pre-select your room, like even the day before you check in online, and you can pick the room looking at floor plans for the hotel. And I like that because then I can pick a corner room or a room that looks bigger or whatever. It seems to give you a little bit better choice that way. So technology's, infiltrating the experience everywhere, but the one area that really needed improvement, airports, seems to be getting a lot of it.
yes, it is, and all for the better, as you said. James, there's, a lot of places that I haven't been. I mean, I get this, and I'm sure you get the same thing. People that know what we do come up and say, "Oh, I bet you've been everywhere," and that is so far from the truth. I mean, but if we put our experiences together, we still probably haven't seen 40, 50 or percent of the countries in the world, or
There's a
something.
lot of everywhere out there.
Yeah, yeah, as Johnny Cash says. He's been everywhere, but there's still a lot more everywhere. And it leads me to think, and reflect back at the beginning of years, kind of, all right, what is it I want to do this year? I mean, what are the things? And I'm not really kind of a goalsy kind of guy, but I do think about what places I haven't been that I want to experience. What are your bucket list trips for 2026?
Well, that's easy for me, I think, because unfortunately, I've had one place top my bucket list for a long, long time. So it really is very aspirational for me. I really want to go to Australia and New Zealand, and I've never been. I've been to far flung places in the world. I've flown almost that far away, but going to Japan, for example. But um, I would really love to go to Australia and New Zealand. That's on the top of my.
Okay.
You?
Well, a place not quite so far away, but something that I have never done, and I've just missed it for whatever reason, is Argentina. I've heard so many good things about Argentina. Not the least of is their steak and their wine. I do love their wine. But just I've heard so many good things, and I haven't been there. I'm gonna make it there in 2026.
I love Latin America anyhow. I love the food, I love the people, I love the culture. So I would love to go there myself. Now, later this year, I have another bucket list trip that I'm going to fulfill. I don't know about Australia and New Zealand this year, but I know I'm going to fulfill this one, which is Africa, South Africa. So I'm going to South Africa. I'm going on a safari. We're going to the wine country of South Africa. We're going to Cape Town, which everyone says is so beautiful, stunning. And we're also going to Kruger, the national reserve for the safari. So, really looking forward to that.
One other one I'm gonna try to get in this year, and this probably have to be later in the year, is Vietnam. Um, I love the history of Vietnam. I'm very interested in their culture. I like Vietnamese food as well. I like kind of pretty much like all food now that I think about it. But yeah, I'd love
There's
to
something very sophisticated about Vietnamese food, though. It has French influence. It, it has
Dutch.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
um, it's very good. I envy you that trip also.
Yeah, but I think more than the food, just the people, and then also the landscape. The countryside seems to be so beautiful and spectacular. And the other thing is from all the people, friends of mine who've been have said it's just one of their top places to ever go. So I'd like to get there before it becomes too overdeveloped and still have a chance to get off the beaten path.
Yeah. I've been to Thailand in the region, but never to Vietnam, and I would like that too. So I wonder where our listeners are thinking about going. The statistics always come back because they're based on broad numbers and large population. It's never very interesting to me to look at the top places because they don't change very much. I could tell you without even looking at the list that it's from the US, it's going to be um, Cancun, Jamaica, right? And sometimes they switch places. It's Cancun, Montego Bay, and then you've got, the UK, London, Paris, Italy. Sort of always that's the top five. And from the UK, where we have a lot of friends, it's Spain, Portugal, Greece, right? Very
Dubai.
popular. France, Dubai. Yes, Dubai. Now that's a place we're going to get to this year. And that's been on my bucket list too, even though I feel like it's a mirage, kind of rose out of the desert, out of nowhere, and it's very man-made. I kind of think of it as the Las Vegas of the Middle East. I'm still very curious to get there.
It's a perfect analogy. It doesn't feel very genuine once you're there. It doesn't mean that it's a bad place, and there's a lot of nice people, and I had a really good experience when I was there, but it does feel like very man-made and, like, behind these walls of a building, you're gonna see nothing, like it's a studio set or something. That's the way I kinda felt.
I'd like to go back to Jamaica this year and promote Jamaica and help Jamaica recover a bit from the hurricane last year, which was devastating to certain parts of Jamaica. But Jamaica's open for business. The resorts are open, and I'd like to go back and show my support. And we were supposed to go, Mike and I, to St. Vincent's and the Grenadines last year, and because of the hurricane that struck the area, we had to postpone that trip. So I'm hoping we're getting that trip back on schedule for this year. That's another interesting place to go that I've never been.
Yeah, I haven't been either. Hey, let's switch gears, James, and talk for a minute about an area where you've got a lot of expertise, and that is the cruise industry. We had quite a few ships, new hardware as they call it, come out this year, but that seems just to be the tip of the iceberg.
It is. I saw a report from CLIA, which is the Cruise Lines International Association, the sort of consortium of all the cruise lines. And between 2025 and the end of the decade, there are something like 50 cruise ships being built and deployed. They call this the book. They refer to it as the book. It's the book of builds in the cruise industry. And apparently, the book has never been bigger than it is now.
Yeah, you just can't come up with the idea, hey, let's build a cruise ship and it's going to launch in 2028. I mean, there's substantial planning and capital investment that's
Years
required.
ahead of time, they're planning ships now 3, 4, 5 years out. And so we know what's being built or what's being designed. And they're ships of all types, not just the big mega ships that always make the news. And by the way, I've been on a few of those recently. This past year, um, Star of the Seas from Royal Caribbean, now the largest cruise ship in the world. So I got to go on the inaugural for that, and spectacular. by the way. I was on Icon, its sister ship the year before. And these ships, although they're floating cities, I mean, there are between crew and passengers, there's 10,000 people on board these ships, and they look like they're, I don't know, they are 20 decks high. They look like you took sort of the Empire State Building and turned it on its side and floated it out to sea. Um, but on board, actually, they're very beautiful. The crowd control is like Disney did it. Like you walk into the public spaces, nothing seems crowded. There aren't lines for anything. Every elevator that opens is empty. It's really very surprising the way they could create a vehicle of that size and make it actually a very beautiful and even intimate experience. It's quite a destination. And because they're so big, they can put so many interesting things on board. Great restaurants, great entertainment, so many choices that this is a new thing that in a week-long cruise, you can't see everything. You know, that's really different. I mean, there used to be big ships before, but if you were on board for a week, by the end of the week, you felt like, well, I've eaten everywhere you can eat on board and I've done everything you can do. I don't think you can say that anymore on these big ships.
Almost every imaginable cuisine is available now. I mean, there would
That's
be
right. I mean, there are Japanese steakhouses, teppanyaki steakhouses with the guy flipping stuff and so, but that's one type of ship. The other ships on order, you know, everything, the full range down to even small ex expedition ships that go to Antarctica or go to Iceland, or and they're some of the luxurious expedition ships and river cruise ships. That's a big part of the book over the next number of years. These companies are just churning out new river cruise ships, and there are a bunch of new entrants. I mean, Ritz Carlton has yachts now, and there are all these new. And the big one is the most anticipated one, I think, is celebrity cruises known for their beautiful ocean-going, you know, premium luxury vessels, um, as launching their own river cruise ships, and we've only seen the designs for them, but they're stunning, really quite beautiful.
yeah, and they've got 2 coming out, I believe, in 2027.
Interesting one for me, coming back to our sort of philosophies here at No Tourists Allowed, is, AMA Waterways, European cruise line, excellent, beautiful European cruise line, has begun cruising in Colombia in South America on the Magdalena River. And they have 2 ships now, and they're smaller ships with only 50 or 60 passengers on board. And you get this up close Latin cultural experience cruising to, like, Barranquilla, which is where Shakira is from, the singer, and other great cities in, Colombia. Great food, great music, of course, and, the whole Latin experience, so I really like that, and AMA has pioneered something they're calling, soulful journeys, soulful experiences, and they are special themed cruises in different destinations that focus on certain ethnic backgrounds. Like I've seen these um, Black culture cruises where the food you eat, the places you visit, and the stories they tell you are all around that particular culture. And if it's not um, Black history, then it's Jews or it's some other ethnic group, and they've built a beautiful themed experience around that. Really like that idea too. So you can take a cruise and have a meaningful, authentic travel experience. It's all about the choices you make.
Very true. It's always about the choices that you make. Um, yeah, these new ships, I mean, if we take a step back and not think a little bit higher than just the hardware, I mean, when cruising became, US cruising, kind of started in the '70s when it wasn't just the transatlantic crossings, but the Bahamas, started by Carnival, and I remember going on those early on. And there were only a couple of ships, and then, things changed. Royal Caribbean, NCL came along, etcetera. And then there was this kind of spurt of growth where it went from being 5 or 6 ships to 20 or 30 ships. But now there is like a real explosion because you're not just talking about more ships coming out, but these ships are so large and they carry such large capacities. This is kind of this tipping point, if you will, of getting cruises to be really mass market ready. So w- we've used in the industry, we've used the word mass market to describe certain cruise lines, but, it's still only affecting maybe 1 or 2% of the population. But now when you have these vessels, when you have, 10 or 20 of these very, very large vessels that can accommodate 5, 6, 7,000 passengers out sailing every week, now you can start hitting on a larger percentage of the population. You can start servicing a larger percentage of the population. So to me, this is like this we're really getting over the crest of this big explosion in the cruise business because it is such a wonderful way to experience a vacation. It's not for everybody. I mean, I get that, but it is for a lot of people. And a lot of people who say it's not for them have probably never tried it. But if you've tried it and it's not for you, thumbs up. It isn't for everyone, but it is something everybody should try to give it a chance, because it has opened up a lot of people's minds. And even if you start with a short 3-day weekend cruise just to see if you like it, you're going to get a little bit of different experience. It's more of a party experience because everybody's trying to go really hard for 3 nights. But if you're concerned whether you're going to like it or not, you can try that, and that'll probably be your least favorite experience after you've done several different cruises of different lengths. But it's a good way to dip your toe in the water.
It's still an unbeatable value in the travel business. I mean, as far as your travel dollar is concerned, it's very hard to beat because if you just do the math, what it would cost you on land to stay in a hotel for 6 nights, to buy all your meals, right? And then to pay for all the entertainment and all the things to do, you wind up with a cruise paying a fraction of that, really, and it includes everything. It really is an unbeatable value. And here's the thing: um, almost 80% of the American traveling public has never been on a cruise. That's the statistic. So 8 out of 10 people have never been on a cruise. So maybe very probably you listening in with us, many of you have never been on a cruise, and Mike and I certainly recommend it as something you should try, an experience you should try. Right? It's not what I do for every vacation, but when we do take a cruise, um, very high satisfaction rate. The repeat rate on cruising is huge also. Just people love doing it and love coming back to do it again. So,
Hopefully, Charlie from Clea is listening, and I think he'll be very proud of us for for pitching. Everybody should go on a cruise.
Charlie would be full of a lot more very useful statistics and thoughts about cruise. We ought to have him back. I think that was the first season we had him on.
Yeah, yeah, we
Charles
need to have him.
Charles Sylvia, the vice president of CLIA. Yeah, great guy.
All right. Well, I think we're kind of running short on time, James. So I think this is a good time to wrap up this installation of our podcast. So thank you all for listening. Please tell your friends about No Tourist Allowed. We invite them to listen. We invite your feedback. If there's something you'd like for us to talk about, please go to notouristallowed.com and share some feedback, and we'll take a look at that and maybe respond to you directly.
And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter there at notouristallowed.com as we start to build the list to draw a winner for our next vacation giveaway. And this time we're going to be on land. And let's tease out the first detail, Mike, and that's it is an all inclusive resort. So you've got your food and your drinks and your activities all included. And over the next couple of episodes, we'll give you some hints where it is, what it includes. But you got to be in it to win it, right? So
That's right.
please enter and uh, on the website and tell your friends to come and do the same.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at No Tourist Allowed.
Thank you.